This is lesson 49 for course 1, dividing by a decimal number. So we've already done dividing that uses a decimal number in the way of the dividend is the decimal number, but we haven't done one where the divisor is the decimal number. So just a quick review, divisor, dividend, quotient. So what we're looking today is if the divisor, it has a decimal in it. So we're going to look at this one first. Now this is the divisor, this is the dividend, okay? Remember, this isn't just another way we can write division. So this would be the same as looking at something like this, right? This is 12 divided by 3. So this is 1 and 24 hundredths divided by 4 hundredths. So what we want to do in these cases is instead of making our life harder, and trying to do this with a decimal number, what we actually do is we convert both of these numbers. How we do that is we move this decimal place in our divisor over until we have a whole number, okay? In this case, that is twice. To do that, I times this number by 100, okay? So to get this decimal place over here, I times 4 hundredths by 100 to make 4. Now, because goes the rule with all things, if I do it to one side, I must do it to the other, which means I'm also timesing 1 and 24 hundredths by 100. So I'm taking this decimal place and I'm moving it over twice. Now remember, you move this over twice when you times by 100 because there are 2 zeros. Okay, that's what's happening is you're moving the decimal place over twice. So this is now 124 divided by 4. This is much easier. We can do this no problem. So if we then come over here, we can now do our division no problem. 4 goes into 1 0 times, 4 goes into 12 3 times, which is 12. Subtract equals 0, bring down the 4. 4 goes into 4 4 times, which is 4. Subtract equals 0, and you end up with the answer 34. Again, I made the divisor into a whole number by timesing it by whatever tens or hundred that I needed to times it by to move that decimal place over. And because I did it to the divisor, I had to do it to the dividend. I had to do it to the other side. Let's look at another one. Now this one is going to be a little bit different. So this time we have 6. This is how we normally are used to seeing division. So 6/10 dividing 1 and 44 hundredths. So again, I want to get that 6 to be 6, just 6, not 6/10. So I'm going to move the decimal place over once. It is now here, okay, which means I can erase these bits. To get it to move over that one time, I times it by 10. So because I times this by 10, I must times this by 10, which means it moves over once. One place value. My decimal is now here. Now this decimal we know how to deal with because we already know that when there's a decimal inside your dividend, when you are dividing, you just move it straight up. Okay, this is sometimes referred to as over, over, up because you move this decimal over, move this decimal over, and then if this decimal is still here, you move it up. So over, over, up. And again, what I did is I had the decimal here. I wanted to make this 6, so I times it by 10. Because I times this by 10, I have to times this by 10. So my decimal place moved over 1, and it is now over here. And this makes my life easier and my division easier, because now I can go through again. 6 goes into 1 0 times. 6 goes into 14 twice, which is 12. Subtract equals 2. Bring down the 4. 6 goes into 24. How many times? Continue your division. Remember that the decimal is up here. Okay, I'm not going to finish it because we already know how to do division. I don't need to go to the end of it. What you do need to know is the moving of the decimal place. Okay, again, if your divisor has a decimal, you are going to times it by 10, 100, 1,000, whatever you need to be able to make this a whole number. Now, whatever you times this divisor by, you must also times your dividend by, because what you do to one side, you must do to the other. If there is still a decimal inside your dividend, you just move it straight up like we already know how to do for division and continue your division. That is lesson 49, dividing by a decimal number for course 1.